Hello guys, and welcome back to another Sims 4 challenge. We're doing Sims 4 Ideas December Build Challenge still. They were very lovely and are letting me use this, but we're doing a little bit differently. We're not doing a December Build Challenge. Obviously it's not December, it's actually August when I'm recording this and probably September, October when you're seeing this, but we are following most of the rules. We're staying within a 3x3, we're not using an ECC, we're using the prompt that we're given, and we're doing the wall height. But instead of building every day in December, I roll a die, which you should be seeing on screen if editor Amanda has done her job. I did roll it before I got on, but I did record it, so it is like legit. We rolled a 17, which is just a store, and so that's what we're building. So that's what we do. We let the die decide for us. Actually, it's 2 dice in this particular case. It's 2 die. So we rolled 17, which was just a store, and I interpreted it 2 different ways. At first, I was like, oh, like a storeroom. And I was like, that doesn't make sense, man. And literally nobody is interpreting it that way. You're the only one who thought in that regard. And so I ended up thinking, oh, well, they must mean like store or shop, right? Like bookshop or like clothing shop, like a clothing store, that kind of thing. So that's the direction we went. We went with a bookstore, which I don't actually know if you can do the Sims, because I'll be honest with you, I believe it's Get to Work. Is it Get to Work? Yeah, I think it's Get to Work at the shop system. And I played with it a little bit when it first came out. I had like a bakery and stuff, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't played with it a lot since. It's like, it's kind of fun, but I don't super love the like micromanagey bit of it. And I'll be real honest with you, I was a little borked when it came out, and I was like, my employees don't do anything. So kind of more or less, I haven't played with that in a while, so this isn't obviously functional. It's meant to be like a dollhouse situation. And you'll see me messing around with it a little bit. I think I cut most of it out. I did mess with trying to set up where it actually showed me what was needed for a shop so that you could turn this into a real shop if you wanted. For some reason, I could not work out how to make that happen on this particular lot, and I was too lazy to switch lots. So it is just marked residential. I'll go ahead and if I upload it to the gallery, which I don't know if I will because it's a dollhouse, I will go ahead and make note that it is supposed to be a bookshop. But I decided to treat it more or less just like a snapshot, and kind of like an ode to my favorite bookstore. I have a bookstore in the little town that I live in. It's called, because there's kitters all over the store. I think there's at any given time definitely 3. But there have been times where I've been in there where there's been like 5 or 6 because the employees will bring their cats in, and the owner's always there with her cats, and they're lovely, and they all have little personalities, and like the little white and black one absolutely loves to be loved, and she'll follow you around, and the little all black one is kind of like, I'll decide when that's appropriate. But this place is definitely against fire code, because you walk in and you can't hardly walk straight through the shelves. Like, they're so tight, you kind of have to like angle your shoulders a little bit, and they're stacked to the gills, and this gal knows where everything is, which is great, because originally it was, and his store, he actually got yelled at by the fire marshal a couple times because his place was so packed with books that it makes how it is now actually look empty, because it's actually like functional. But you could walk into Chris's shop and you could ask him for anything, and I would like try to stump him, because I didn't used to live here. I used to come visit because my family lives here, so I used to spend the summers in this small town, and I'd come in the summertime, and I'd have spent the entire school year trying to pick up weird topics to ask him about, to see if he had a book on, and he always had a book, and I always brought the money to buy whatever book he had. So like one year, I remember, I think the most obscure thing I asked him is, I was like, do you have a book on the southern United States in the Civil War having a military, like a navy? And he was like, oh, the Southern Navy, yes, I have like 5 books on that. And I was like, how? We're in a little western landlocked state. How do you have like 5 books on that? He knew everything. I came in one time and he was like, I've already got a book for you. And I was like, what do you mean you already have a book for me? And he was like, I found a book written by one of your distant relatives. And I was like, from my last name? You knew? And it was a very, very, very distant relative, like a cousin of a cousin of a cousin kind of thing. But like, I have that book somewhere around in here, and like I would go in and be like, do you have Sherlock Holmes? And he'd have Sherlock Holmes and all that. It was a great bookstore. Well, unfortunately, a year after I moved here, he passed away. We were all freaking out because obviously we didn't want to lose the bookstore, and so I was like, crap, that's my favorite place to go in town, short of maybe the candy store, which is also really fun to go into. And his friend was like, well, I'm just gonna keep it running for right now, and then we'll see. And so she went in and she like cleaned it up so it was like safe and wasn't gonna get closed down and stuff. And then she kind of decided she really liked running it and kept it and changed it to, and I go in there as often as I can afford to. And I always come out with at least one, usually 7 or 8 books. They have a great mystery section, and the gal in there is so sweet, because I'll go in and I'll be like, okay, I've read everything I bought last time, like, what do you have that checks all of these boxes for me? And she usually has a book recommendation. And one thing that she does that Chris didn't do is she has some of the newer stuff coming out too. Chris was usually older stuff, so like you couldn't go in and ask for like tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, because she wouldn't, or he wouldn't have it. But she usually does, and if she doesn't, she'll be like, come check in a couple weeks, meeting a new shipment. And she's a little bit more proactive about that. So like I was able to find House on the Cerulean Sea. I didn't read that. I sent it to a friend. I want to read that, but I was warned that I should be prepared to cry for that one. That is very sweet. And then the second one, which I can't remember the name of, I was also warned that I shouldn't read that one right now, because it's about feeling not so sure about your career choices and stuff. And admittedly, I love my job, but I've been questioning a little bit if like where I'm at in my career kind of thing, which I think every 20-something does, right? Like, I'm in my late 20s now, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not as good at this as I should have been. Anyways, but I was warned not to read either of those right now because of, like, probably not wanting to look at my life that close. Anyways, but I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which is a really good book, and unfortunately I was not able to get that one there, but, like, literally the day after I finally broke down and bought it on Amazon, she had it, and I was like, okay, I can't really justify purchasing this now, but if you give me a month, maybe I'll purchase it and then I went in and bought, like, 7 Sherlock Holmes editions. So I have a problem. I love mysteries, and Sherlock Holmes is my favorite detective, which I know is so original, but I also love almost anything Agatha Christie. I always say that my favorite detective is Sherlock Holmes, but my favorite mystery novel is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, which is fantastic and you should read it. But I grew up on a steady diet of Nancy Drew, so it's no shock that I'm a mystery nerd. So I always go in and raid her mystery section, and I have a couple other authors that I've been told to try. One is Margaret Truman. I know nothing about her, but I was told she writes good cozy mysteries, because I like cozy mysteries. If I sound different, it's because I'm looking up at my TBR right now. I have it on a shelf. And then I have one gal whose name I'm not sure how to pronounce. Her last name is Marsh, but I haven't heard it out loud, so I'm worried to pronounce her first name. But apparently she writes very much like Agatha Christie and is very good, and so I want to start one of hers pretty soon. Currently, I'm supposed to be reading Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, and then after that, I'm going to do a reread of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, because my little brother is going to read it and he wants to discuss, and I haven't read it in a couple years. And then I also have I finished Moriarty by Anthony Horowitz not too long ago, and Anthony Horowitz has been like the only author who was like allowed to write Sherlock Holmes after Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and Moriarty is not technically Sherlock Holmes, but it's about Moriarty, who is the Sherlock Holmes villain. And then, so that was fantastic. That book was absolutely killer. And then I just finished reading his other one, which is up there, and I'm not seeing it at the moment, and I can't remember the name of it. Oh, The House of Silk, which is Anthony Horowitz, and it's a Sherlock Holmes, and oof, that book was good. And so I've been really enjoying Anthony Horowitz, and then I just was gifted his other book, which I don't see up there, and I can't remember the name of, but it's not Sherlock Holmes, but it's sort of Sherlock Holmes-esque, I'm told. So I want to read that. This has turned out to be nothing about the challenge, and entirely me just telling you to go read mystery books, which you should. I just finished reading The ABC Murders, which is an Agatha Christie, which I had not read before, but that was very good too. But yeah, so anyways, going back to this is supposed to be a little bit of an ode to my favorite bookshop that I'm very blessed to have in town, that I love going and spending way too much money at, even though I know better, and it's just absolutely packed with books. It's one of those where, like, you're almost afraid to walk through because you're gonna knock things off of shelves, and she has, like, this amazing collection of stuff. I also got a really weird book in there one time. So I like Jimmy Buffett as a singer. His songs are, like, really funny and quirky, and I didn't know he had written a fiction book until I was walking in, and I was like, that says Jimmy Buffett on it, and I thought, oh, like, maybe it's a biology or something like that. Biology? Amanda, biography? Apparently I'm tired. Biography? Or like a, what do you call the small ones? My brain has died. Anyways, I thought it would be something like that. A memoir. I thought it would be like a memoir. But no, it was a fiction book, and it was the wildest trip of a fiction book that I think I've read in a very long time. And, like, I've read Stephanie Plum. which I actually am going to do a reread of. I just read the first one for the money, and now I want to read Two for the Dough, question mark, is what it's called. I'm kind of in a reading slump at the moment, but I was in like a really hot streak for a minute. But anyways, I found that Jimmy Buffett book, and holy Moses, that lives rent free in my brain now. It was good, but I don't want to say that and give the impression that like it was like literary genius or anything. It was a feel-good kick-butt action novel, which are usually not my thing, but I read it entirely in one morning because I picked it up while some friends were here and they sleep late and I'm an early bird. And so I was like, oh, I have a couple hours, I'll start this. Read the entire thing, couldn't put it down, forgot to eat breakfast, forgot to get dressed kind of thing. It was so good in that regard. But it was also the weirdest thing, and I don't know if I can like truly recommend it because like I don't know who to recommend it to or like what to even say about it beyond like it was a whole trip. It was very, very much his music. But yeah, it was pretty good. Anyways, so I found that in there too. But I found that in there because it literally was like I bumped the shelf it was on. There's all kinds of cool stuff in there. But it's like completely packed, and I love that you can just go in there and be like, this is the vibe, and they'll have it for you. And so I was trying to make that kind of look in here. The problem I was having is I don't own that book kit. I should get that book kit. I honestly think I might splurge here in the next like couple of months and get like the book kit and the greenhouse kit and like the bathroom kit maybe, and like the Bloom in Rooms kit. There's a couple of kits I would like to get, but I haven't bought any yet because I kind of feel weird about kits. I don't know. Anyways, but I was trying to make it look like it was just a packed full bookstore. The problem is a lot of our bookshelves are weirdly sized. So that's where I was struggling. And then I just like packed it full of things. I rambled through that entire video and didn't talk anything about the challenge. I think I did okay. I think it looks like a bookstore. I think you could recognize this as a used bookshop. And I'm pretty pleased with it. So I think we can say we nailed this challenge. This one was fun and different. Just a store had many interpretations. I almost did a bakery, but then that didn't feel super story. So I think we did okay. But anyway, since it's screenshot time, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and listening to me ramble. Let me know if you read any of the books I talked about because they're so good. Oh my gosh. And I will talk to y'all in the next one. I hope you're having a great day and you're feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you and I'm glad you exist and I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad you get to hang out with us. And next up should be either speed build or room build. So I'll catch you then.